Welcome to Pre-Snap Podcast, presented by LineStar app. Here's your host, Casey Bubba and Scott Bogman.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Pre-Snap Podcast, brought to you by the wonderful people at LineStar Sports. Make sure you check them out on the old Twitter there at LineStar app and at LineStar NFL. And download the app in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Be a premium member. Get everything you need in the palm of your hands to build your winning DFS lineups. I built a hockey lineup on Wednesday night just by going through. I was bored. There's no sports. There's no sports. So I got screw it.
Yeah.
5 games opening night. I was on TNT. Had to do it. That other voice you hear first, I'm on Twitter at BD. The other voice tell me I'm a degenerate, and you should really look into. Actually, don't look into his closet. You might regret that. He's on Twitter at Bogman Sports. Scott Bogman, how we doing, man?
I'm doing great. I mean, only 10 games though. So,
got to scratch the itch.
Little less to pick through. That's right. So, I mean, you're just going to be happy on Tuesday when the NBA comes back. So, get your NBA DFS in for sure.
Yeah, watch me full tilt. If you guys want to watch some stuff, check out the LineStar YouTube channel because we'll probably be recording during some games. And man, if you like tilting, watch an NBA game and a guy does not play coach's decision. That's so much fun.
DNP-CD, it's the worst injury. I hate it.
Oh my God. It makes you want to just literally drive to whatever stadium they're in, no matter how far away it is, and slap a fool. So that's how I feel sometimes, but that's another podcast for another day. Again, make sure you check out Bogman on Twitter at Bogman Sports. I'm at BD. We have a 10-game slate, as Bogman said, to break down for you because there's London calling. There's 4 teams on a bye. It's so much fun, guys. So much fun. So 10 games. Let's get right into it, Bogman. One of the better games on the slate. The Arizona Cardinals at the Cleveland Browns. We have the undefeated Cardinals heading in there. Browns coming off a tough loss, over under 49.5. Bogman, how do you see this one playing out?
Look, I like a lot here. I mean, there should be a decent amount of points in this game. 2 pretty good offenses, and we saw what Cleveland did last week as well. They should want to run the ball a little more, keep the ball out of Kyler Murray's hands. You don't want it to be a last team to touch the ball wins the game type of a game if you're the Browns, because they just lost one of those. So you should want to run the ball. So I love Nick Chubb. He's expensive. Don't care. Kareem Hunt, also expensive. Don't care. Love them both. They've both been working out. Either quarterback is okay. I think Mayfield's a nice deal, 59 and 68 this week. As far as wide receivers go, I'm not touching anything on the Cleveland side at all. If you want to play Hopkins, you want to play Green or Moore, I think are cheaper. I don't want to mess with Christian Kirk. Hopkins always in play, but always expensive. I'm super bummed that Max Williams got hurt because I did love playing him as a cheaper tight end. But alas, there is no tight end to take in Arizona anymore. And I'm not going to chase Njoku's last game, which priced him up a little bit more. So I think it's mainly Chubb and Hunt. Mayfield, if you're looking at a deal for quarterbacks, is okay, and then Moore or Green.
Yeah, this is a game I like the over. We talked about this on the betting show. Kyler Murray is battling a bit of a shoulder injury, so keep that in mind as well. But I also mentioned on the show that the Cardinals allow the most explosive running plays in the NFL right now, a.k.a. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are phenomenal. Hunt is outscoring Chubb on the fantasy season right now, and he's cheaper every week because he's getting the passing plays. He's finding the end zone. There'll be a week here or there where Chubb's just going to go bananas, but Hunt has paid off his price time and time again. Both guys fully in play. Like, I'd prefer Chubb in cash and probably Hunt in a tournament. That's how I would specify the two. Both completely in play. If you want to go with the quarterbacks, sure. Just remember, like I said, Murray's a little banged up, but I do like AJ Green for value, 49 on DK, 54 on FanDuel. He'll still get his. You got D-Hop back, and then, man, if you can decipher the Cleveland passing game, more power to you. Because I want to keep playing OBJ at 5,100 on DK because I just feel like that big game is going to happen eventually. But, man, it's brutal. It's brutal when it doesn't. So I don't blame anybody for making a bunch of lineups for putting some OBJ in there. You can't exploit the Arizona defense from time to time with the deep ball. So it's there. It's a tough one, though. I prefer the Cleveland running backs in this game. And I prefer just watching a really good football game in general. Yeah. Cincinnati at the Detroit Lions on this one. Over under 47.5. Bogman. That might be a little too high.
Yeah, look, there's not a lot to love here, I think, this week. Joe Burrow is saving his voice for the game or whatever, not letting him speak right now. So he's like a mute at this point. Joe Mixon, a little banged up. I know he went out there last week, salvaged the touchdown. I just don't want to mess with it. If they get up big, which I think a lot of people expect against Detroit, they're just not going to run him at all. It's going to be, a lot of Chris Evans or whatever.
Yeah.
So I like Jamar Chase at 67 and 78. I like T. Higgins at 53 and 64 and Tyler Boyd at 54 and 63 because this secondary in Detroit is terrible. And I think we're going to have some wide receivers play well here. Chase is my favorite, but I'm okay if you want Boyd or Higgins as well. And on the Detroit side, I love a cheap shot on Amon-Ra St. Brown, 42 and 5,200. Probably my favorite play. Also, don't hate the Bengals defense against this O-line for Detroit. I think Hendrickson and Hubbard could get home a couple times here and maybe even produce a turnover or two. So I like the Cincy defense as a sneaky defense play too.
Yeah, it's quite interesting for a game we don't expect a lot of points. I think like a Burrow, Chase, Higgins, Brown stack is so cheap it could get home. Like I really see that happening. Because I agree. I don't think Cincinnati runs the ball a ton. Burrow's affordable. Chase gets his. Higgins is going to be a PPR monster. I love the St. Brown bring back. Even if you just want to punt the GPP play, it doesn't even have to be this part of a stack. Brown's a great play because Detroit's going to have to throw the football. Got targeted heavy last week. Started to get targeted the week before. On paper, looks to be the guy now in Detroit. Bogman's been on him from the get-go. So I think that's a great, great play. Those are my main four in this game. Not looking too many other places. I can't wait till Mixon's report gets even worse and P. Ryan's still on the COVID IL and people go, "Oh, Chris Evans, the greatest value ever." Yeah, I'm just gonna eat that one. If Chris Evans beats me this week, so be it. Like that's the one I'll mention. I should have mentioned this earlier. DeAndre Swift could be a very good play. He leads the world basically in receiving for running backs, and the Bengals give up the most receptions to running backs in the NFL right now. So DeAndre Swift, especially on a PPR format at $6,300, could be actually pretty nice play on this game. I'll say that much.
It just seems like whichever one we like, the other one goes off every single week. Doubt. So since we like Swift,
his life.
Jamal Williams, 100-yard, 2 touchdowns. Let's
come on down. Or he's just going to vulture the touchdown. Swift will get him down there, and then he'll get Coach Kilmer. All right, Dallas at New England. Big game here for Dallas Cowboys, that is. The over-under is 51.5. Bogman, how much Dallas offense is too much?
I mean, this is a stackable game. I think, obviously, Dak is always in play. Zeke is always in play. A little down on Pollard, but he's probably in play as well. Lamb, Cooper, Wilson. You know what I mean? I think the only pieces I like on the New England side are Mac Jones at 52 and 65. I actually like him better as a cheap play than Baker Mayfield, who's a little more expensive than him that we talked about earlier. And probably just Jacoby Myers at 55 and 58. Kind of that mid-tier pricing for a wideout. And I mean, if you wanted to throw a tight end dart, Dalton Schultz is probably too expensive now. I would just go with Hunter Henry at 39 and 56 and hope he gets in the end zone. So whoever on the Cowboys, Mac Jones, Jacoby Myers, and potentially Hunter Henry.
Yeah, we know Dallas is going to get theirs through the air by ground. Zeke could go nuts. We talked about on the bets show that they'll shut down somebody. Belichick will shut down somebody. I think it's in the passing game. We'll see. So Zeke could still get his and just flourish. We saw it last week. The Giants passed forever to Tony. Zeke still ate because that's what happened. So Zeke's still a great play. Really, really good play. I love the idea of a Mac Jones to Jacoby Myers to Hunter Henry. 3-man stack. It's so cheap. Ridiculously cheap. Bring it back with the Cooper or Lamb and pray that's not the guy that gets shut down. Or bring it back with Zeke. Totally fine bringing it back with Zeke. Super affordable. Gets you a big piece of this very, very high-profile game, or at least offensive game, and super affordable, so you can bring it back with it a couple nice pieces from some other games. I think there's the Mac Jones angle. It's very, very enticing. He's like $2,000 cheaper than why did I just blank? $2,000 cheaper than Dak Prescott. So that could be quite intriguing in this game. Next up on the slate, we have Green Bay at Chicago, over under 44 on this one. Be nice if Green Bay can get going. Bogman, what's your thoughts on this game?
Look, I just don't know how you can trust anyone for Chicago right now. I mean, Damian Williams is limited in practice on Wednesday and Thursday with foot and knee issues, right? Justin Fields, they're not letting him open it up. Allen Robinson has been terrible. Darnell Mooney is fine, 43 and 56. I would say he's an okay buy. But for me, it's just Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and Devontae on the Green Bay side, and they're all crazy expensive. And I don't really care if I'm gonna buy someone from this game. It's gonna be one of those expensive guys. I just can't really trust anything in Chicago right now.
Yeah, all I really want in this game is Devontae Adams. Pay for him. He's worth every price, every penny. Don't really care for anybody else in this game. I just want Devontae Adams. That's quick, simple, to the point for me on this one. The Indianapolis Colts host the Houston Texans on this one. Massive favorites. Houston almost pulled off the big upset. Colts just got beat up late against Baltimore. Over under 43.5. Bogman, what do you like in this game?
Not a ton. Jonathan Taylor would be in play here at 66 and 75. It's a fine, fair price for him. I'm not too worried. Michael Pittman isn't a bad price at 55 and 58 as well. That's decent. Other than that, I mean, I think I'd rather go with Pittman over a guy like Brandon Cooks. I might throw a dart on Chris Conley or Chris Moore at 33 and 31. They're very, very cheap. They had some rapport with Davis Mills. Can't screw with any tight ends in this game. Just not going to do it. So that's probably it for me, man. It's just, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, and maybe Conley or Moore.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Jonathan Taylor this week. I think they'll go to him early and often yet again, just like last week. He's only 6,600 on DK, 75 on FanDuel, but that price tag's pretty cheap. So that's enticing. I don't mind him Pittman just because he's getting so many targets week in and week out. Gives you a nice cash game floor with some upside. I can see the Conley or more appeal if you need to do a punt, but overall, not a ton I want in this game. Kind of almost a cross-off game for me for the most part. Kansas City at Washington, over under 55.5. Bogman, going to be the popular game to stack up here.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely stackable. Mahomes, Tyreek Hill. We saw McCall Hardman getting 9 catches the other day, 42 and 5,500. I think is a decent price. Obviously, anytime you want to buy Terry McLaurin, 71 and 74 is fine. Ricky Seals-Jones still a cheap option at 3,000 and 5,000. I think even McKissick might be in play or Antonio Gibson. I know you like Taylor Heineke. There's a lot to buy here.
Yeah, it's a great game to stack. I like the Mahomes to Hill's been going off, but I'm going to go back to Kelsey. He let people down this past week. Price tag went down a bit, only $7K on DK, which is cheaper than it's been. So I got no problem going back there. I don't mind Ricky Seals-Jones either at $3K on DK, $5,000 on FanDuel. That's very, very much in play. Then on the flip side, you mentioned McLaurin. Love McCall Hardman as a value at 42 and 55. And yeah, if you're not going Mahomes, who's a great play, I have no problem with Heineke. We mentioned the Mac Jones stack earlier. That's a great pivot off of Heineke. But I think Heineke's great. The Chiefs have allowed at least 28 fantasy points to the opposing quarterback this season. It's been brutal for the Chiefs defense. So Heineke with his legs, very much in play. So I think he's a good cheap option. But Mahomes and Kelsey is my top two in this one. I expect the Chiefs to put up a ton of points against Washington. Chargers at Baltimore. This is the game of the week in at least my opinion. I think Boggs agrees on that one. Over under 52, Bogman. Where are we going on this one?
I mean, the three-headed monster in Baltimore, Lamar, Marquise Brown, and Mark Andrews. Those are the three best buys. I'm not big into paying up for a tight end, but Mark Andrews is huge. I know you're going to hit us with some stats on that too. And then Herbert, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, all obviously in play. If you're looking for just an absolute tight end punt, I like Donald Parham at 29 and 49 because he's just a giant red zone option. So there is just so much to buy here.
Yeah, it's a great one. And in reality, Lamar at only 74 on DK with Marquise at 59 and Andrews at 52. They're all too cheap. They're all way too cheap in a game that should see a ton of offense. I think it's a great three-man stack. You can bring it back with Allen or Mike Williams. I prefer Mike Williams, honestly. He's got the bigger ceiling in these games. I think it's a great game to attack. And don't sleep on Austin Eckler. He's been big in the passing game, so he's another great option there. But I love the three-headed monster, like you said. The Chargers just got torched by Njoku for Cleveland. What do you think Mark Andrews is going to do after he just went nuts against Indianapolis? Like, my God, what's going to take place there? And you see what Hollywood Brown's doing. He's getting better. I saw a stat somewhere on Twitter. His season total right now through 5 games, he's on pace to take 3 more games basically to beat his career high in all his stats already.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing with a guy like him and Lamar. Remember, this is kind of what I was talking about before on the betting show, where I think it might be better overall for their offense. They've had this running back issue to let Lamar pass the ball, and because Marquise Brown gets open, he gets massive separation. He's had issues catching the ball and Lamar getting the ball to him. And when you're only giving that guy 1 or 2 chances a game, it's just not going to do enough for him. Now that he's getting 4, 5, 6 chances a game, he's making 2 or 3 of them count, and they're just enormous for this Baltimore offense.
And what makes Baltimore great, we named the big 3. We talked about it on the betting show, or on the recap show. It's a centralized offense, which makes playing DFS so great. Like, we talk about these other offenses where it's like, okay, is it this guy this week? Is it this guy? It's these 3 guys, barring like the really random, like Sammy Watkins touchdown or something.
Yeah.
It's these 3 guys. So stack them up, bring them back with a Williams or an Eckler, mix and match it with some other games. Love this game. I think it's a great pivot off of Kansas City and Washington, which will be the most popular one on the slate. Rams at the Giants again. That will not be very popular, Bogman. The Rams should go in and take care of business against a Giants team that, if this was baseball, might be their AAA team. So what do you like in this one?
I like Darrell Henderson, probably is my favorite play in this game, 6,000 and 7,300. If you, I tell you what, Devontae Booker at 54 and 59, not the worst play either. I think if you're the Giants, and whether you have Danny Dimes or not, you're going to want to run the ball to keep Stafford and that Rams offense on the sideline. So while he might be running into the teeth of the defense and not put up great averages or yards or even look good, he's going to get work, Devontae Booker. So he wiggles out of one and runs for some yards, or, they end up down near the goal line and he scores. I think he could be a decent play as well. I mean, these wide receivers like throwing darts. Kupp would be my guy, but Woods is a good value at 61 and 69. We don't know who the hell is going to be healthy and playing for the Giants. So I'm just going to ignore them as a whole. So Booker and Henderson are probably my favorite plays here.
Yeah, Tony had that monster game last week. Got quite the price bump this week. Quite the price bump. So,
and he's banged up. He might not even play.
He might not play. We don't know. Like you said, we don't know who's going to play. If Shepard plays, I'm intrigued, and I'm not in love because it is, like you said, long neck, probably slinging it back there, which is never good, which brings the Rams defense into play. They're not going to be cheap, but brings them into play for sure. I love Darrell Henderson. Phenomenal cash game option at 6K on DK, 73 on FanDuel. He should absolutely feast in this game. Don't mind the Booker call. Kupp is still a great play. I know he's expensive, but he's getting over 10 targets per game. And it's hard to beat, period. So he's very, very much in play as well. If you want to go Woods, you can, but I'm not looking to full stack this game. It's pretty much Henderson, Kupp just for his floor he brings to the action. And pay attention to the Giants injury report because someone's going to come out of this looking like a value.
Yeah, it looks like everyone's practicing. So that's nice to see. Shepard, Tony,
that makes it
and
really
Slayton
difficult.
are well, Galladay isn't, but the top 3 guys are. But they all do you really want to start one of these guys and have him, do the Sterling Shepard or pull his hamstring in the first quarter and not get you anything? So I just let somebody else take him.
100%. There's a lot of other games to have some fun with on this slate. Like maybe not this one. Las Vegas at Denver. The over-under is 44 in this one. This has repercussions of just ugliness, Bogman.
Yeah, we both agreed it's not going to be a good game. I don't want anything in the running game here. Jacobs banged up. Well, I tell you what. I'm going to retract that. Jacobs against Denver, for what I saw Pittsburgh do against this Denver defense last week, gash them for over 100 rushing yards, I'd actually be okay with Josh Jacobs. And he did play last week, so he's not really banged up. I just don't like the Denver running backs because they just don't know. Just pick one. and roll with it, but they're not going to do that. So they have been frustrating. On the receiving side, I do like Sutton at 62 and 66 and Tim Patrick at 51 and 61. When they got down, which they could be in this game easily, no one would be shocked. They started passing, and a lot of it went to Sutton, and a lot of it went to Patrick, and none of it went to the running backs or Noah Fant. So I do like them in this game. I think Henry Ruggs could see a couple more targets with Gruden gone. He should not just be a decoy like he has been. You should get a screen to him, run him on a reverse, do something with him. And I think hopefully a new coaching staff or a new play caller will do that. So fingers crossed on that. Also, Darren Waller might be in play at 66 and 7,000. Just, the new play callers will do the obvious stuff. Get the ball in Ruggs' hands, run the ball with Jacobs, and throw to your best option, who is Darren Waller. So I think they all could be in play, but I probably won't have a lot of them because I just don't want to watch this game.
There's a lot of what ifs in this game. That's the troublesome part. So if you want to put pieces in tournaments, sure, like what Bogman said with Ruggs and Waller and them, sure. I think Font is quite interesting actually. Once Albert O went down, his target share went through the roof, and so that's interesting to me. If the game stays close, then Font should get a very hefty target share in this game. Then you got your Patrick and your Suttons. If they have to throw the ball, sure. Everyone's buzzing about Javonte Williams this week, but Melvin Gordon's banged up. Keep an eye on that. I think he still plays. If he doesn't, obviously Javonte Williams is a great play. But that's one to definitely monitor as the week goes on. Final game on this slate, Minnesota at Carolina. This one should be a lot of fun, actually. Over-under is only 46, surprisingly, but we both like the over on the betting show. So, Boggs, what do we like for picks here?
I like receivers in this game. Jefferson and Thielen on the Minnesota side, obviously. And then Moore, and I'm going to take a dart and pick a Robbie Anderson or maybe even a Terrace Marshall in one of these games. I love my boy Tommy Tremble, but doesn't see enough targets. He might get a touchdown, but he's not on the field enough for me to want to go to him, even at that cheap price. Not necessarily interested in the running backs just because Cook and Madison are both a little nicked up, and McCaffrey's coming off of being out last week. So I don't really want to mess with any of them, but it also puts Cousins and Darnold in play. So really just the passing game here for me.
Yeah, I like Cousins' value, 62 on DK, 71 on FanDuel. Big fan of that. And then you mentioned Jefferson's been awesome. He's actually more expensive than Cooper Kupp now. But so that's an interesting dilemma if you just want to go back and forth there. But I do like Jefferson quite a bit. I think Thielen's a great bounce back candidate after getting kind of nowhere last week. 3 catches for like no yards. He's only 58 on DK, 72 on FanDuel. DJ Moore actually had a quiet week as well last week. Good bounce back option there. And I don't mind the Robbie Anderson. It's another week, another large target share. Production's not there. So if you're going full stack, Robbie Anderson's a good tournament play, but Moore and Jefferson are your better volume floor plays with a little Kirk Cousins as well. All right, Bogman, that wraps up the 10-game game-by-game preview. Who are your top stacks on this slate?
Well, I mean, like you mentioned, Minnesota and Carolina could definitely be one. We talked about the Dallas game and the Chargers and Baltimore, I think, is a huge, huge one. Kansas City and Washington is stackable. And then the Cowboys and Patriots, I think there's pieces that we like there as well.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you there. I think my favorite stack, I'm going to go back to just because it's reliable, is that Lamar, Andrews, Hollywood Brown. Okay, reliable more often than not. Let me put it that way. Stuff happens, but those 3, and then it's affordable also, which allows you to mix and match pieces from all these other stacks we like, and you can have a lot of fun. I've been noticing on the winning lineups lately, and LineStar does a great job. You can go on the app. If you download the app, become a premium member, you can look up the optimal lineups, or they tweet out the winning lineups every week of the games, and even on other sports the next day they tweet out the winning lineups. For football, a lot of the winning formulas, it's like a 2 or 3 man stack. So if you do the Lamar, and Hollywood and Andrews, and then it's like 2 players from another big game. So like it was Chase and Adams, and then like 2 more from another big game. So it was like Zeke and Tony. So they're getting pieces of all the big games instead of full game stacks. That's what's been winning lately. Does it all, like in years past, it's been full game stacks. So who knows? But it makes sense, this new philosophy of, get these pieces and mix and match and because there's so much offense these days. So it's a very intriguing option, get some value pieces, so on and so forth. So with that long-winded answer, that's how I'm approaching this thing. But we'll see how the rest of it goes. And if you need to, like I said, just download the app in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Everything you need to build those winning lineups. Another big winner this past week. Just tons of big winners getting tweeted out over there at LineStar, and they're in the chat. They're doing all kinds of great stuff there. But that'll wrap us up this week. Week 6 in the books, Bogman.
We got to pick touchdowns.
Oh, thank God you remembered that one. Yes, thank you. Touchdown picks, because I got another one last week. So let's go throw that one out there.
Yeah.
It just keeps on coming. So if you retweet, because you follow LineStar on Twitter at LineStar app, the touchdown picks of the week from Bogman, myself, and Ryan Humphreys, you retweet it. 3 lucky retweeters will get paired with each one of us, and you can win some free swag if our guy finds the end zone. So Bogman, for week 6, who's your touchdown call of the week?
Give me Jonathan Taylor against the Houston Texans. I think he can get in the end zone maybe more than once.
Yeah, that's a very good one. Jonathan Taylor should eat often. I'm going to go with one and only Nicholas Chubb going up against the Arizona Cardinals. I mentioned how you can run wild on the Arizona Cardinals. Give me Nick Chubb to do some damage there. You got Jonathan Taylor. We'll see who Mr. Ryan Humphreys takes as his. Make sure you retweet that touchdown call of the week to have a chance to win some free swag. Now that will wrap us up for the week 6 edition of the Pre-Snap Podcast. This is why I have a co-host, a great guy. You can find on Twitter at Bogman Sports. I'm on Twitter at Pediatric. Good luck this week. We'll be back to you guys next week with the recap episode on Tuesday.
See ya. Good luck.
Thanks for listening to Pre-Snap Podcast, presented by LineStar app. Please like, comment, subscribe, and rate for good karma in your fantasy football game.